The Supreme Court orders Dr. Denzil Douglas to vacate his seat in the National Assembly, and over 17,000 stop-and-search exercises carried out and more than 12,000 search operations conducted by police. Regionally, Guyana's Chief Justice orders recount of ballots in disputed region. Internationally, coronavirus, US admits failing on testing, says Fauci. And in sports, NBA halts all games after Utah Jazz player tests positive for coronavirus. We'll have the details to these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's Powerhouse.
Wrong.
Welcome back on the one to the national news in detail. The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court ECSC has ordered Leader of the Opposition and Member of Parliament for Constituency Number 6 in St. Kitts, Dr. the Honorable Denzil Douglas, to vacate his seat in the National Assembly. In the judgment handed down today, March 12, by Chief Justice the Honorable Dame Janice M. Pereira DBE, the Honorable Madame Gertel Thumb, Justice of Appeal, and the Honorable Mr. Paul Webster, Justice of Appeal Acting, in an appeal case between the Attorney General of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr., and Dr. Denzil Douglas. The judges made the following conclusion. The appeal is allowed and the order of the learned judge is set aside. 2. It is hereby declared that Dr. Douglas, by reason of his becoming a person who by virtue of his own act is under an acknowledgement of allegiance, obedience, or adherence to the Commonwealth of Dominica in breach of Section 28(1)A of St. Kitts and Nevis's Constitution, is required, pursuant to Section 31(3)C of the Constitution, to vacate his seat in the National Assembly, and 3. Each party will bear their own costs before this court and in the court below. The case brought by the Attorney General sought to determine whether the respondents, that's Dr. Douglas' application for receipt and use of a diplomatic passport issued by the Commonwealth of Dominica, amounts to an acknowledgement of allegiance to the Commonwealth of Dominica, Section 31(3)C of SKN's Constitution. The VOA Newsline made attempts to contact Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris and Attorney General the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr., but to no avail. Meantime,
we are very surprised and we disagree with the judgment. Having sat in the court and listened to the questions asked and the answers given by my team, we are really surprised that this judgment has come in the way it has. However, we accept the judgment and we move on definitely to the next level.
That's Leader of the Opposition, Dr. the Honorable Denzil Douglas. Following the ruling by the ECSC, Dr. Douglas expressed his views during a press conference held by the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party SKNLP today, Thursday, March 12. He also made this statement.
There is no appeal, as I indicated, further to the higher court, that is the Privy Council. And so I no longer will serve the people of constituency number 6 in the parliament during this term, which is already ended. In other words, although I will not sit in the parliament for the next 2-3 days or weeks, the matter is I, however, will contest the next elections for constituency number 6 whenever those elections are called.
Dr. The Honorable Denzel Douglas. The tactical units of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force carried out over 17,000 stop and search exercises throughout the Federation in 2019. The units comprise of the Special Services Unit SSU, K9 Unit, Anti-Gang Task Force, Drug Squad and Task Force in Nevis. Furthermore, more than 12,000 search operations were conducted on abandoned properties, empty lots and vehicles. The officers also managed to execute over 4,000 vehicle checkpoints and hundreds of search warrants. Because of the overall crime-fighting initiatives undertaken in 2019 by the police, there was a 28% reduction in crimes and some 47 illegal firearms were taken into police custody. Thus far, 2 illegal firearms have been removed from the streets of St. Kitts and Nevis for 2020. 16,725 visitors, 11,795 passengers, and 4,930 crew from 5 cruise liners were in St. Kitts earlier this week, indicating that tourism in the Federation continues to shine. The Norwegian Gem, with 2,471 passengers and 1,096 crew, the Symphony of the Seas, with 5,797 passengers and 2,198 crew, and the Azura, with 3,010 passengers and 1,185 crew, docked at Port Zante, while the Sea Dream 2, with 100 passengers and 93 crew, anchored at South Friars Bay on Tuesday, March 10th. The Seabourn Odyssey berthed on March 9th at Port Zante with 417 passengers and 358 crew. On July 16, 2018, St. Kitts and Nevis made history by being recognized by the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association FCCA as a marquee tourist destination with the arrival of the 1 millionth cruise passenger to its shores. St. Kitts and Nevis was recently named the Cruise Destination of the Year by Caribbean Journal in the publication's Caribbean Travel Awards 2020. The Division of Adult and Continuing Education ACE at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College CFBC is introducing 2 new short courses to interested persons. Dean of ACE, Wanda Hughes, stated that the courses are a mass communication seminar series that is aimed at persons working within the media houses or persons who might be interested but are not quite sure, so they may want to explore to see what it is like, and the Money Matters How to Manage Money and Finance course. The courses cost $500 and $640 AC respectively. She explained that the Money Matters course will focus on budgeting. Other semester 2 short courses being offered include Introduction to Psychology, Functional Spanish and Leadership. Shorter new courses currently being advertised begin in the week of March 30th, 2020. And lastly, in our national news segment, kidney health for everyone everywhere, from prevention to detection and equitable access to care. That was the theme for this year's observance of World Kidney Day. World Kidney Day is celebrated annually on March 12th every year. According to worldkidneyday.org, this year's World Kidney Day continues to raise awareness of the increasing burden of kidney diseases worldwide and to strive for kidney health everyone everywhere. Junior Minister of Health here at Nevis, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams, delivered an address and stated the following.
It is also an opportunity to encourage behaviors and reinforce the practice of habits that can prevent the development of kidney disease, such as reducing salt intake and drinking adequate amounts of water. There is a range of kidney disease which develop for different reasons. However, chronic, non-communicable diseases such as hypertension and diabetes are prevalent in our islands and account for the majority of local chronic kidney disease cases. Chronic kidney disease is the progressive loss of kidney function and, if not detected early, can lead to kidney failure.
Junior Minister of Health here on Nevis, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams. And that's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com, or you can check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
We know you have your personal as well as your business needs, and we're here to help. Our knowledgeable staff will work with you to help you achieve the financial success that you or your company needs in a competitive market. We offer solutions that make your banking experience easier, like our savings and checking accounts. Be sure to ask about our youth savers accounts and our Bank of Nevis Gold Club. We offer a wide range of personal loans, including mortgage, land, student, auto, and consumer loans. Have access to your funds instantly with our BeOnline internet banking and our debit and credit cards. We make international banking and investing easy. How's your business? Give it the leverage it really needs by letting the Bank of Nevis assist you with all the necessary funding for all your business expenses. It's that easy. What are you waiting for? The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Bank of Nevis.
Welcome back on to the regional news. Out of Guyana, Chief Justice Roxanne George has ruled that the declarations of results for the country's largest electoral district following the March 2nd elections are null and void. The Chief Justice's ruling earlier yesterday, March 11th, came in a case brought by Riaz Hollander, supported by the main opposition People's Progressive Party Civic PPPC, who had secured an injunction to prevent the outcome of the elections from being declared until the legal process of verification of results in Region 4 was completed. Returning officer for Region 4, Claremont Mingo, last Thursday, issued a declaration of results which would have given the incumbent a Partnership for National Unity Alliance for Change APNU-AFC coalition a victory in the polls. He had only allowed the verification process for statements of poll for 421 of the 897 polling stations. In her ruling yesterday, Justice George said the Guyana Elections Commission cannot declare the overall results until Mingo complies with the law. Out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has registered its first case of the coronavirus COVID-19. Minister for Health Luke Brown made the announcement at a news conference last night, Wednesday, 11th March. The minister said the person, a female who had traveled to the United Kingdom, experienced flu-like symptoms and tests were sent to the Caribbean Public Health Agency in Trinidad and Tobago. The tests were confirmed and the results returned to St. Vincent and the Grenadines Wednesday afternoon. According to health officials in the country, the woman, who's between the age of 30 and 35, has been placed in isolation. They say she's not experiencing any major respiratory symptoms and it is believed that she has only a mild infection. She traveled to the UK for a meeting and returned to the UK on March 7th. She presented the symptoms, a cough and a fever, on March 10th. The news came after Jamaica announced its second confirmed case of the virus, which has been declared as a pandemic by the World Health Organization. Out of Jamaica, a day after the country recorded its first case of the novel coronavirus COVID-19, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark has announced that government has allocated $7 billion in Jamaican currency in contingency funding towards tackling the virus. Opening the 2020-2021 budget debate in the House of Representatives today, he said the funds will provide for any contingency as necessary to protect the Jamaican people from the health and economic impact. This is a contingency, it is preparation, he said. Minister Clark noted that within the contingency funding, the government is prepared to consider other health, social protection, security, economic or other temporary cash flow relief expenditure should conditions deteriorate. And out of Barbados, the Barbados government has denied reports circulating online that a family of 3 has died from the coronavirus COVID-19. And that's actually an undated story from a source identifying itself as News NT, had claimed that the deaths were announced by the island's lone acute care facility, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. However, a statement issued by the government said that was far from the truth. Barbadians should note that the story is entirely untrue, and up to Tuesday night, no one in the country had tested positive for COVID-19, neither resident nor visitor, it said. It added that for more than 8 hours, senior local officials of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, led by Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Anton Best, met first with representatives of the government, social partnership and regional health experts, and then with permanent secretaries and heads of departments to look at the country's readiness to respond to the virus. And that's it for our regional news segment. Stay with us for news around the world. Welcome back, and now on to the international news. A top health official in the U.S. says that the testing system for coronavirus is currently failing. The system is not really geared to what we need right now, let's admit it, said Dr. Anthony Fauci from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. The government has come under fire as the U.S. has conducted far fewer tests than many other affected countries. There are currently more than 1,300 confirmed cases of the virus in the United States. President Donald Trump said that the U.S. had a tremendous testing setup where people coming in have to be tested. Meanwhile, China criticized the U.S. after Washington said Beijing initially tried to cover up the coronavirus outbreak. More from the BBC's Michael Bristow.
The White House National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien said China's cover-up had cost the world 2 months of time to prepare. Had China not done so, he said, the consequences of the virus could have been dramatically curtailed. In response, a foreign ministry spokesman in Beijing said the US should concentrate on dealing with the emergency and not attacking and discrediting China. The battle is not just over how to control the spread of the illness, but also over who's to blame.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is self-isolating over coronavirus fears, his office has announced. Mr. Trudeau's wife, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, began to show mild symptoms of illness late on Wednesday after a speaking engagement in the UK. The couple is staying home until the test results are returned. Mr. Trudeau is not exhibiting any symptoms. There are currently approximately 103 confirmed cases of the coronavirus in Canada. Under his doctor's advice, he is continuing daily activities while monitoring his health, but out of an abundance of caution, he is working from home, the statement said. Shares around the world are in free fall as investors see the spread of the coronavirus bringing the world economy to a halt and fear leaders are not responding effectively. At the start of U.S. trading, shares plunged and triggered an automatic temporary suspension in trading aimed at curbing panicky selling. When trade resumed, shares continued to fall, following European markets lower. The initial declines came after the U.S. restricted travel from mainland Europe. The UK's main share index was down over 9%, trading at its lowest level since the 2008 financial crisis. And the strikes in eastern Syria have killed 26 Iraqis from an Iran-backed Shia paramilitary force after a deadly attack on US-led coalition forces in Iraq, a monitoring group has said. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said popular mobilization bases near the border town of Al-Kamal were hit. It was not clear who carried out the attacks, and the coalition did not comment. However, it followed a rocket attack on Camp Taji military base in Iraq that killed 1 British and 2 American soldiers. No group has said it fired the rockets, but a top U.S. commander said they were likely to have been fired by Shia militias in the popular mobilization. And that brings us to the end of our news segment. The latest in sports is next.
This 2020, get 20% off all things hire purchase at the TDC Home and Building Depot. Shop from the widest range of products in furniture, appliances, and electronics, all under one roof. Enjoy no deposit, fast approval, free delivery, free assembly, and excellent customer service.
I know you're gonna dig this.
We're giving 20 customers 20 prizes, including the chance to win their contract absolutely free. Visit us today on the Frigate Bay Road in St. Kitts and Pinnis Industrial Site in Nevis. TDC Hire Purchase, the best value every time. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back and now on to the sports. In basketball, the NBA has announced that all matches will be suspended today until further notice after a Utah Jazz player tested positive for coronavirus. The announcement was made just before the Jazz game against the Oklahoma Thunder was due to start on Wednesday. The NBA said the player who tested positive was not at the game. The NBA will use this hiatus to determine the next steps for moving forward in regard to the coronavirus pandemic, a statement said. The Jazz vs. Thunder game was postponed. Unconfirmed reports say the player concerned was Frenchman Rudy Gobert. In local sports, the Charlestown Secondary School held its annual sports meet on Sunday, March 8th at the Nevis Athletic Stadium alias Mondu Track. The patrons for the day were Shamara Newton and Roslyn Dunrod. The final point standings were Greenhouse 268 points, Gold House 205 points, Red House 189 points, and Blue House 158 points. In more local sports, the high school championships will take place over this upcoming weekend here on Nevis. The event will spread over 3 days, Friday 13th March, parade of teams through Charlestown and rally in front of the Tourism Authority building starting at 2:30 p.m. This will feature the 3 competing schools, the Charlestown Secondary School, the Gingerland Secondary School, and the Nevis International Secondary School. Sunday, March 14th and March 5th, that's actually Saturday, March 14th and Sunday, March 15th, the athletes will compete in track and field events at the Nevis Athletic Stadium, commencing at 1 p.m. each day. The patrons will be Perrier Skeet and Josephine France, past outstanding athletes in the secondary schools. The cost on both days is $20 for adults and $10 for children. The International Olympic Committee has insisted that the Tokyo 2020 Games will go ahead as the Olympic torch was lit in ancient Olympia. Thursday's ceremony in Greece was the first since 1984 to be held without spectators because of the ongoing concern over coronavirus. IOC President Thomas Bach said organizers had outstanding support and cooperation on all levels of government. The Games are due to start on July 24th. Bach told a small crowd of invited guests the IOC was happy with the measures being taken to avoid cancelling or postponing this summer's event in response to the global outbreak. 19 weeks before the opening ceremony of the Games, we are strengthened in our commitment by many organizations around the world taking significant measures to contain the spread of the coronavirus, the IOC president said. And in cricket, England bowler Chris Woakes has pulled out of this year's Indian Premier League to focus on international cricket. Woakes, who is currently in Sri Lanka with England's Test squad, was due to play for Delhi Capitals in the 2020 tournament, which starts on March 29th. The Warwickshire player will instead return to Birmingham after England's 2-test tour of Sri Lanka. Woakes has played 33 tests, including 3 of England's 6 tests over the winter, and was a member of the World Cup winning squad last summer. He was signed for £160,000 by by Delhi Capitals at auction, having previously played in the IPL for Calcutta Knight Riders and Royal Challengers Bangalore. England begin the first of 2 tests against Sri Lanka on March 19th. Later this year, England start a 3-match test series against West Indies on June 4th, play Australia in 3 T20s and 3 one-day internationals, meet Pakistan in 3 tests and 3 ODIs, and play a 3-match ODI series against Ireland. England play in the T20 World Cup in Australia in October and November, but Woakes have not played a T20 for England since 2015. And that's it for sports. The weather is next. Welcome back to tonight's weather. Fair to partly cloudy and cool with a 10% or a slight chance of a brief shower. The weather tomorrow partly sunny with a slight chance of a brief shower. The winds east at 15 to 28 kilometers per hour or 8 to 15 knots with lighter spells overnight. The seas 1.2 to 1.8 meters or 4 to 6 feet with northerly swells of 1.5 meters or 5 feet. A high surf advisory remains in effect. The sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:20 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Thursday, March 12, 2020. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court orders Dr. Denzel Douglas to vacate his seat in the National Assembly, and over 17,000 stop-and-search exercises carried out on more than 12,000 search operations conducted by police. Regionally, Guyana's Chief Justice orders recount of ballots in disputed region. Internationally, coronavirus, U.S. admits failing on testing, says Fauci. And in sports, NBA halts all games after Utah Jazz player tests positive for coronavirus. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Jarvis Brown wishing you a pleasant evening.